Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on BeamNG Drive at the Proving Ground circuit with some more vehicles being driven till destruction. Starting with something quite interesting. This is the Formula B. It's just recently come out. It's like a very, very entry-level Formula car. Now, there is a couple of things that have had to be done to have this car work around this course. Basically, it is stupendously low. I have raised the ride height. Now, you can do that in the tuning menu. For as many vehicles as possible, I try not to adjust the setup like that. However, when it comes to the checkerboard, this car physically can't do it. Even with the raised ride height, I might have to be a little sneaky when it comes to dealing with the checkerboard. So, there'll be a little asterisk next to this car by virtue of, the checkerboard is not really able to be completed properly. It might not. But I still wanted to run the car, even with that. Much like we've had vehicles that were too big to fit through the spinners, you know. It's still a curious thing to try and run around here. We're not expecting it to exactly be winning this this competition, so yeah, we'll try and run it across the checkerboard. If I get it right, it kind of can. If I don't get it right, we kind of hit the nose on the on whatever part, and it gets a bit beached. So yeah, we might do the whole sort of sneak around the side, try and drive over it if we can, but if not, sneak around the outside. I mean, it's doing damage to itself going down here, so it's not exactly like it's... Oh, come on now. Just trying to put the wheel. I want to put the wheel over it. Nope. Okay, fine. Not going to put the wheel over it. Screw it. There we go. It's all done. It's fine. I think I over-revved the engine somewhere along the line like an idiot, but never. If it happens once, it's okay, as long as I don't keep doing it. I mean, the big concern with this, of course, is the wheels just falling off. Open-wheeled cars are notorious for having wheels come off them. Especially considering this thing has been bounced around quite a lot across that checkerboard. I'm surprised they've stayed on as well as they are. We could well see them get bent, become undrivable. I don't know how strong the steering is and all of that sort of stuff. Can we go over this speed bump? Yeah, kind of. It just kind of clatters us wide. Suspension's curious, actually. It's almost got bloody rock crawling suspension. It's it's surprisingly free to move from... steering's a little twisted. Yeah, it's surprisingly... Oh, something at the back's not happy there. Christ. Oh, that's not the crash. That's the sort of crash that breaks things. The wheel... Okay, I will give it credit. The wheels are strong on this car. That sort of crash on an open-wheeled car normally leaves a wheel falling off. Definitely something's not right with the rear right, I think. It kind of like dipped down, although I think that might just be the way the suspension is when it's getting a little broken. Another concern, I don't know what the diff's like in this. I don't know whether it'll let it be one-wheel drive. I kind of feel like we might find out about the one-wheel drive nature because it's probably going to lose wheels. As I said, the most likely cause of death on this, I suspect, is going to be wheel-related one way or another. I don't expect it to survive long enough to overheat. I don't really expect the radiator necessarily to go because I don't know where it is. The radiator's not in the nose of the car, so... I don't know where it is, actually. Maybe it's at the top? No, that's just the airbox for the engine. I don't know where the radiator is in this car. Has my exhaust been twisted, or is it always pointed? I thought the exhaust went straight out the back of the car. Have we actually managed to twist the exhaust off the start? Not that that's a particularly big problem. Let's be honest here. We're going to go and take jump. That's fine. Yeah, I can see the back of the suspension at the back's very odd. I mean, whether it's odd to begin with, I don't know. It's definitely busted, or it's definitely odd now. Whether that's from crash damage, I don't know. Across the big jump we go. Oh, okay. It doesn't really like that. Yeah, it's like, get some control. It's got a lot of suspension travel that I wasn't expecting it to have, like from side to side. Oh, no. Oh, there's a grimace going on because I can tell that's going to be a bad one. Oh, I hit that speed bump. I just didn't expect to get launched so far in the air. The wheels on this are unbelievably tough, the fact that nothing's bent. I thought one of the rear wheels was buckled from that crash, but it isn't. It's still pointing upright. What are they made out of? I know the car is light. I mean, this is something that we have seen before with the race cars. Because they're so light, when they do have these crashes, the forces going through the vehicle, it looks spectacular, aren't quite as bad, perhaps. There's just less momentum behind it. Oh, here we go. We're across there. We're not so low that we catch on that, but we are so low that we catch here. Oh, Christ. So I did do a test with it. I tested all of the mods just to make sure they work and everything. I did do a test, and I did have this going across the checkerboards okay. So it did do it. Maybe it's just the crash damage at the moment is put it in such a way where it can't do it. Ugh. But yeah, there will be an asterisk because it essentially can't cover this obstacle properly. I mean, oh god, all of the wheels are at funny angles across there. How long can it last like that? It handles terribly because as I'm going around the corner, I mean, the front end, you can kind of see it. The front end's almost lifting up in response to my steering inputs. That's not good. Oh, and the rear wheels, when they're unloaded, the rear wheels are all sorts of bad angles. Right, this does not look good for the car. No, okay, so I mean, it's the rear wheels like fall inwards, but when it's righted, they kind of sort themselves out, which is strange, but it's working for the moment. It'll work until whatever bit lets them kind of however, I don't know how it works. Whatever is allowing them to stay pointing upright when it's on its wheels. When that snaps, it's game over. Whichever bit that is, whether that's that big metal arm that's coming down from either side, whatever it is, if we land in such a way that we bend or break that, yeah, you can see the positive camber it gets. Oh, there is a problem, of course, with all this damage, is that it makes the car more and more difficult to drive. As it gets more difficult to drive, it gets more difficult to, you know, make it around the corners, to take jumps at a sensible angle. Perhaps the bigger concern is the spinners, although the car is very low, so we have got to bear in mind, of course, that is a plus point. This is unlikely to get completely obliterated by the spinner, simply because it'll go under them. I should think maybe the roll hoop at the top will get caught. And it could do some damage. If we hit the spinners, it's going to do some damage, because it'll probably ping, it'll just like hit the car and send it a direction with force, but it's not going to hit the wheels. The wheels are too low, it's going to go under them. So that is a plus point for this, in terms of survivability. Across the big sandy jumps, dirt jumps we head, still so far no real big problems for this vehicle. Okay, over again, another big jump. It lands, I mean, it looks so bad, like you expect that sort of crash to be the end of it, but everything kind of flaps around, flails about, and then suddenly is pointing the right direction again. One bit that could see the car. That's not an angle a Formula car should ever have its suspension going at, really. Oh, we can clear that. Fantastic. Oh, I can clear that. Now I can't get it back under control again for this section, but we did clear it. One of the things I am a bit worried about, that's the crescendo jump across the start-finish line there, is if we hit it and we take off at a funky angle, we could end up in the fence. We could end up in the start-finish line as well. And while this seems to be dealing with the landing jumps quite well, I don't think it's going to deal with that sort of damage. I think that could really break the wheels. Right, so we're going to go along the side of this. Oh, I didn't intend to turn in that much across there. Right, let's just go. We'll just keep wheels along there. Oh, not quite. I feel like if we hit it a couple of times, I feel like it's at least somewhat resembling fair. It doesn't do anything to the damn car. It's just hitting the nose, like the underside of the nose, and it's just, that bit is incredibly tough. I mean, let's face it, four-wheeler cars, these kind of vehicles, the safety cells are very, very strong these days. I'm not sure whether repeated hits like that would do the car much good. The driver certainly would not be having a comfortable time in this car. Oh, we're going to go over again and twist. But it's just like, if it lands on the wheels, it doesn't matter. They just ping back around to the way that they are supposed to be. Whoop. And I can just drag it across, and that I haven't seen from an open wheeler before. Come on, let's get through. Oh, okay, so we have got some bending going on with the steering of the car now. And the control is still remarkably good, even though the front wheels barely touch the ground most of the time. The control... Oh, I mean, look at the back of it. I presume somewhere the springs, shock absorbers and so on for the rear. I'm just trying to figure out how the suspension is connected up there. Oh, God, it moves about quite a lot now. Oh, no. Oh, not another. That's a big one. That's a big one for the Formula B. It's still going. Steering's got worse. As I was saying before, it started tumbling. Just that realization as it went off the jump that there was nothing I was going to be able to do to save it. Yeah, the suspension, it looks like whatever sort of spring dampers are going on at the top underneath that. I guess it's got a bit of body work. Oh yeah, I can just about see the spring up there moving around. Okay. I mean, I think that's quite well. It's not going to take damage itself because it's crashing down in a different way. You know, that's something. You can see how the wheels are reacting to all of this. I don't know what. I mean, I feel like surely the wheels are going to kill it, but I don't quite know how at the moment because they're incredibly strong. They're just stuck on. Oh, get away from that. Have we got more problems for the front left, maybe? Okay, it's now really wanting to fly nose first. I can't keep it out of the wall there. Can we spin you around? We've still got steering, yeah? I mean, it's got worse. Okay, it has definitely got worse now. It's very strange. Can I clear all the bumps? Nope. Something has got worse in the car. I'm just not 100% sure what bit. Over we go. It's very difficult to describe how this car's driving. So every so often it's going perfectly fine, and then it's kind of stops responding and then responds normally again. It's very odd. Not good for control. Now I wonder whether it's just because so much of it is now moving around. You can see the front wheels are at funny angles. They've got camber and toe and everything nasty is going on there. Oh, I was not to the inside. Oh, okay, I see what one of the issue is. We've lost the front left suspension bit is at a funny angle. It's not gone actually. I think it's still connected, but it's at an angle that it shouldn't be at. So we can. That is the first bit of, I guess, major damage we've got going on there. Yeah, you can see it's at a slightly different angle to the other side, I think. Okay, the car pulls very badly to the left now. Although it's strange, like it starts pulling to the left and then it kind of grips up and then it's okay. And I've overdriven that corner. That's fine. We'll just spin you around, get you going again, Formula B. Stupidly tough, this thing, for what it is. I expected it to be going for a couple of laps and potentially have a wheel fall off. But yeah, as I said, I test the vehicles, but I don't quite test, I don't know everything that's going to happen to them. And I expected this to, after a few hits, to lose a wheel, but nope. It has now got to the point where it rolls itself over through heavy cornering. That's how much, like, flex we have going on with the suspension. Here we go, up towards the big jump. There's no way we're landing this nicely and level. I was trying to, even trying to keep your throttle down a bit. But, nope. We've gone over, but we have landed on the wheels again. Go on, we can turn it around. There's a lot of dust kicked up from all of this. Okay, so, damage report. Suspension, knackered, but still all connected. Steering, bad, but we do have, for the complement of it, we can turn left, we can turn right. Brakes are fine. Engine is okay. Radiator isn't busted, because I don't know where it is. I was going to say it could be an air-cooled engine, but I don't think so. I know it's a low-power engine. It's a low-power engine. This thing has 90 horsepower, which, on the face of it isn't much. Of course, in a race car this light, you don't need a lot of power. This is, designed to be a sort of rookie car, so, that's about the right sort of power. It's certainly not slow. But yeah, if we start losing power, we could be in a little bit of trouble. Not that is really looking likely, to be honest with you. The engine side of things looks pretty good. I think what's going to happen is we're going to land a jump and then hit some scenery somehow, in some directions. But, I mean, this jump up here is one of the concerning ones, because it can either side can get into the car into trouble. We're going to bounce, and again we see the awkward landing from the Formula B. Okay, across here we go. Leap. Nicely done. I mean, it's twisted everything a little bit more and twisted everything else a little bit more, and I'm trying to get some control in the car. Oh, landed it. Keep foot down. This is a silly run from the car here. I mean, the steering... I'm trying to figure out what's gone in the steering. Basically, it's like as soon as I'm turning the wheel, we get tons of positive camber from the car, and it then doesn't really have as much steering as it should. I'm going to plough into the water. The front wheels wiggle. It's like a stadium. I have turned a Formula car into a super stadium truck. No one has ever managed to do that before. No one has ever thought that should be a way a Formula car should handle. It's not going to do it now, I've said it. Are you? Oh, well, that's disappointing. There's a long corner. I wanted the front, like the inside wheel to lift up and wiggle around in the air like a stadium truck. But no. Oh, dear. Problems have occurred. Well, I say problems. They should be problems. That should be the death of the car. But it's not. It lives. We've made a slightly flat spot on the rim. Not on the tyre now. No. We've made a flat spot on the rim. Oh, God. Okay, steering is iffy. Iffier? It's got worse. Oh, hello, car. What sort of suspension is this? I'm not sure. It's very peculiar. Funny, but very, very peculiar. We're fighting it again, trying to keep it going, and it's some sort of straight line. That's a big, big crash for the car. Oh, it's a big crash for the vehicle, but it's not... Can I... How on earth am I going to flip you over? Oh, I say that. We have successfully flipped it over. It's still going. Up the hill heads the Formula B. Is it any more twisted than it was? Yes, I think so, actually. It's now crabbing about a little bit. Oh, steer. Yeah, I'm basically getting to a corner, and each time it's an experience in new, weird handling. I don't know what I'm going to get from this car every single corner, because bits are getting a little more bent and a little more buckled each time, and it's having a profound effect because the suspension is all manners of broken. Like, little changes are making a huge difference to the way this car handles, I think, because everything is so sensitive and twisted, and all of a sudden we're not stopping there. I'm looking at that, the metal bits that are keeping the rear wheels on, the left side is bent. Just a smidge, I can just see a bend in it going on. And if we keep hitting that, that will, I suspect, give way. The right-hand side looks okay. Now, I guess it could just be like a little texture bug, but I think that's... I don't remember seeing that bend in it earlier. So that's looking like that could be the weak link. It could be until that goes that we have drive. Oh, that's not going to do those wheels any good. How is that still alive? How is that rear wheel? It was hopping down the road on the rear wheel. Oh. And that's the sort of crash that I don't want. I don't want that metal piece snapping. Big jump for the car. Big twist. Still... Oh, that might have done... Has that done damage to the back? It has. Okay, the bend's got worse. Now it is really buckled on that corner. Okay. The Formula B, I mean, it's fighting, it's clawing for its life down here. Have we still got drive? Yes, we're still able to drive. Unless, if it loses a wheel, it's not going to go anywhere, I don't think. I suspect if it loses a rear wheel, even if the diff lets it, I think it's just going to scrape the floor. And while, yes, we've been allowing the vehicle to avoid going through the checkerboard for obvious ride height issues. Oh! Okay, the wheel's gone. The wheel's in the water. Yeah, I genuinely think that the whole thing is just not even going to drive. It's actually kind of like straightened out. The diff doesn't let it go anyway, regardless of that. That was a hell of a show. Well done, Formula B. You would not expect that car to live as long as it did. What the wheel axles are made of is unbelievable stuff. That is crazy, crazy strong stuff. But it will eventually give way. A great run, highly spectacular, but it is very, very much dead. Up next, we have got a Miramar. This, though, is a convertible version, as you can see. I'm curious to... Well, I say know the effects. The Miramar previous series has been quite strong, although this circuit has been punishing to the classic car. Of course, a convertible is quite different to... I say it's quite different to a normal one. Oopsie, didn't set that one right. There we go. Because, well, in a normal car, a fair bit of strength goes through the roof. Like, a fair bit of the structural strength of a car does go through the roof of it. And a convertible, well, you've lost that. Now, they combat this with reinforcing of the kind of chassis. There's generally more weight in the convertibles because despite you've lost the roof part, you have then got to make the actual chassis itself a lot stronger. But I don't know how these mods do things in Beam, and of course that means weights in different places and strengths in different places, so who knows how it's going to fare around a destruction circuit. It should be fun at the end of the day. Oh dear, big slide. I think the Moonhawk convertible was actually pretty good that drove around here. We'll see how this one goes. It could be a lot worse than the normal one. It could be better. It could be about the same. It should be spectacular. That's the hope, at least. We'll wobble our way across the checkerboard. No problem at all. We're going to get very sideways through there, though. So this is like the GTZ something version of the car. So I've gone for the faster convertible version. Straight 6 engine, not turbocharged, rear-wheel drive, quite slidey. It's quite a chunk of power going on for an old car. I mean, for modern standards, of course not, but for an old car and old tyres, can chuck it about and slide it around, etc. We'll see how it goes, really. The big concern, as ever, is the drive shaft with these front engine, rear drive. While not as long as the muscle cars, etc., still potential for the drive shaft snapping on the landing of the jumps. Like that. That's the concerning one. It actually got quite nicely over there for the first time. First time of asking. No real heavy damage. A little bit, but nothing crazy. No radiator gone even. Front looks quite low. Is it any lower than it started, though? It might just be that this is a bit of a sportier version of the car. Still feels quite soft suspension, which is, well, it can be good. As long as it's absorbing some damage, as long as it's absorbing the impacts properly, and not just bouncing the car around, soft suspension is good. Not much it can do, though, about the Dover jump there, because you basically land on the nose. And that's not good for anything, really. Going to land a little bit on the nose over there. It's fine. Radiator's held up good. Always like to see that. I mean, it's a good test. A lot of cars we've seen lose radiators on the first lap around here because of the nature of these jumps. So, yeah, it has done well. Probably don't want... Oh, no, the drive shaft. I literally said I was worried about the drive shaft. And the drive shaft has gone pop on the Miramar. It's just going to coast. We'll just leave it in neutral. We'll let it coast as far as it can, but... who would have thought the Miramar that was looking sensible? It seemed to be doing okay, but just one hit too many. And it's going to coast to a very familiar death site. A number of cars have gone out in this manner. Oh, we're going to grind to a halt on the speed bump. Actually, not quite perfectly balanced. Are the front wheels off the ground? Almost. Spiff would almost be proud. Not quite perfectly balanced from the Miramar on the speed bump. Yeah. I was worried about that. I did think it was going to last longer. I guess maybe that's, again, the bending forces on the car with them being differently. Maybe it's just bending the chassis itself a bit more. Might just be an unlucky, awkward landing of a jump. But either way, that's the end of the drive shaft. Well, seeing as the Miramar lived all of about 2 minutes, we have time for a third car. It's been a while since we've had 3 cars in an episode. We've got the late model stock car, which is an awesome, awesome mod. Again, similar changes have had to be done to this vehicle, as we saw with the Formula B. I've had to max the ride height on it. Otherwise, it is too low. The chassis gets caught constantly on... It's the checkerboard in particular that's where it's bad. So, similar things have been done with this car. Everything else is exactly the same. Like, the suspension settings are identical, just it's been raised enough to hopefully not catch on the checkerboard. It might still, you know, and over time, how this raised suspension might be worse. It might give the car either handling issues, or it might break it in different ways because we've got everything sort of extended to the max. We will see how that goes. I mean, I'm not expecting this to survive particularly well. It never do with motorsport cars at the end of the day, and I never expected the Formula B to survive for the length that it did. Now, of course, we will have a similar rule with this car. With the raised suspension, it can go over the checkerboard. If something gets snapped, it's going to get to a point where I think the actual chassis rails themselves are going to catch. So it'll have the asterisks, double asterisks next to it to say we had to mess with the ride height, and checkerboard is potentially an issue. But the rest of the course, it can do legit. Right. Feed the vehicle through the spinners. There we go. Oh, out the other side. Get it turned in for a banked corner. Oh, and we've gone for a spin. Oh, we've gone for a spin and we punched a tyre. That's not good. Can I navigate my way out of there? I can. So this is one of the things, I mean, we've seen it with every high-powered car, especially high-powered cars not even remotely close to being designed for this sort of stuff. Easy to make little mistakes like that, to put down a bit too much throttle and spin the car. And, well, you spin the car across a curb, across the bumps, across the checkerboard, you're going to tear wheels and tyres apart. We've seen it before. The D-Series lost a wheel. The sporty D-Series that ran lost a wheel from just getting a slight kick of oversteer across the checkerboard. So, yeah, it's easily done. This won't like the dirt. It's on slick tyres. I think the late models do race on dirt, if I'm right in saying that. I could be wrong. I don't know much about this sort of oval racing. Oh, bouncy. bouncy oval racer. It's fine. Yeah, that might give us some curious suspension characteristics with everything being kind of raised up. I think it's pinging off the rear of the car. Just notice the fuel tank might be a concern, actually, if we bounce around awkwardly. I think it's pretty well protected, but I get the feeling that, like, an awkward bump, maybe we'll see some problems for that. I don't know. Come on, car. Oh, can't get to go in a straight line across the dirt. That's surprising, really. Come back down. Oh! That is the best two-wheel save I think I've ever done. Okay, we had to steer it out towards the fence and everything, but as so far on its side, how that came back down, I don't know. Right, we are good. Still got steering. Check. Yep, we've gone further than the Miramar. So the late model with race suspension is better than the Miramar convertible. No, it doesn't feel good across there. It also doesn't quite feel right. I think something's bent or broken in the rear of the car. Oh, something doesn't feel right back there. I wonder, much like we've seen with the Moonhawk and the Regency when the whole rear axle kind of comes loose, it feels almost like that. Now this won't have that sort of axle, so I don't think it can happen quite like that. But something at the back is very badly broken. Not surprised, no one should be surprised by this turn of events, but it's like just informing something is wrong back there. At least the front of the car is still high enough to clear the checkerboard. Around we spin. I can't really see with the way the bodywork is on this car and the way how well hidden the wheels are. I can't really see any movement going on. Oh, in there. Oh, clonk over here. That's fine. Now this won't scoot under the spinners, I don't think, if it gets broken. Definitely not going to scoot under the spinners with the bonnet flapping around in the air. Can we close that? Tried. Oh god, big kick of oversteer. It's very strange to drive at the moment. I'm trying to think of a way of describing, but it's just the back end is so inconsistent with what it's doing. I just don't know what it's doing half the time, and that's a problem. Here we go. Big flight through the air. Big hit on the ground for the late model, but still going fairly well here. Though not with a spin like that. We'll just bring it down in terms of the speed. Spin the wheels, dig the car out of there. All is good so far. I get the feeling that this is one of those vehicles that it's actually doing quite well. I mean, we've seen this with a few cars. It does quite well, but I think one hit is going to probably be the death of it. One hit in the wrong way, I should say, is going to cause it grief. I know we've got the tyre down, and that's making that's not going to help with the handling, but it's not the tyre gone down. It's not a puncture tyre that we're having weirdness with the handling. I think it's broken some form of damping shock, something along those lines, spring. Something's gone in there that's acting, gives the cars all sorts of handling problems. The bloody bonnet is quite annoying. Can't really see where we're going. We're going to clonk down on the front. I mean, again, this has got some strong wheel axles because it is surviving these hits pretty well. We saw the V10 racer thing, I can't remember the exact name, it was now FF something, that lost all 4 wheels within a lap, and this isn't doing that. Nor the Formula B have lost wheels. Though this is now starting to do the whole tripoding around corners bit. Oh, that's big hit. Big hit for the front of the car. We'll spin the wheels up. Okay, we've got bent steering now, I think, at the front. Front right doesn't... Well, it's actually very difficult to tell with this car. Front right doesn't look good, but also with so much bodywork, trying to figure out what... Oh, that's a bush that is not drive-throughable. It has torn the front apart a bit. Now, we can pull debris free if it gets wedged. I'm hoping it's going to come off on its own. Oh, we lost the exhaust. That doesn't matter. I'm hoping it's going to come, because using the node grabber to pull debris off of a vehicle is very risky, because you're likely to do a lot of damage to the vehicle yourself. That's a big hit. I don't know what has got stuck. Why have we hit there? Something has got unhappy with that. We've got the debris is out of the way. It's kind of smashed up around the front end. We've lost the radiator. Okay, so radiator's gone. We are going to overheat with this late model. Oh, no, not going to catch that. We are going to kind of spin back again anyway. Okay, well, let's see why we've lost the radiator. It's fallen off. Where is it? Is it somewhere still connected to the front bumper? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, come on now, car. I really don't know what's going to happen when I touch the steering on this. It's just... it just feels like just a lucky dip. Sometimes I get lots of steering, sometimes I get none, sometimes it gets very twitchy, sometimes we get a big load of oversteer, and sometimes we can catch the big load of oversteer in a way I don't even expect to be able to, but there we go. Across the jump we head now, across the small jump now up to the main shafted jump we land. Pretty heavy on the front, but no, it's all good. So again, surprisingly good for the vehicle. We'll get some oversteer. Oh, come on, car. Behave yourself across these bumps. Yeah, it overheats quickly. I mean, this sort of like the racing engines are likely to. I mean, I can't really do much on dirt. I've got no real grip on it. Oh, the only saving grace there was it was slow. I was frantically trying to gather it back up so that I didn't go off that ramp at that angle because I'm very worried about landing and hitting the floor with the front wheel. Now my steering's really bad because it pushed that wheel. Got loads of positive camber going on that side of the car now. It's done well. Credit where credit is due for a motorsport vehicle not designed at all with off-road outside of maybe a dirt oval. This is doing well. There is the radiator has made a bid for freedom. Can I twist your car over? It's a bit more of a fiddle to roll upright. Oh, there we go. Well, the radiator's free with the piston rings. The engine is dying. I don't even think it's going to live to the shallow grave. I think that's going to be a death before then. Even if it does, I think the engine's too busted now to be kept alive for any length of time by the shallow grave. The fact this has got out, though, well, presuming from overheating, because it's not got long in this world now. Oh, it has come back down with a clonk. Come on, engine. Keep going, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. We can do this. We can make it a little bit further. Maybe. Can we get to shallow grave? It's not going to save it. The engine's knackered. But can we get through there before it gives up? Suspension's knackered. Steering's not great. Oh. Breathe some water. Nope. It's dead. Maybe the water killed it, I think, this time. That's it. That's it gone. The late model is done for. A good showing, though, from the car. As I said, I'm impressed with it. I mean, the wheels stayed on. It was the overheating in the end that got the better of it. The wheel axles were tough. It lost a tyre at the very beginning. Definitely suspension damage was done, but it drove very weirdly. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out if it was that left-hand side or whether the car's set up, of course, because it's so used to turning in certain ways. Regardless, whatever broke, it was weird to drive for a fair bit of that, but that is a good performance from a vehicle, as I said, really not designed for this kind of stuff. On to the leaderboard, and the Formula B doesn't quite make it into the top 10, but it's still a fantastic drive from that vehicle. As I said, I would never have expected an open-wheeled Formula car to even remotely get as close or survive for as long as that. It was incredible. It was wacky and it broke apart in a very strange way. The suspension on that is both incredibly strong and a bit weird, but it kept it alive. It kept it alive around the course. It beats the I-Series, beats the Kashara Rotary, and so on. We have to go a little bit further down to find the late model. Again, another good performance, though, from a race car here. The late model goes in 27th position. I mean, it basically died at the same point the Covert V6R4 is, which is a Group B rally car, or Group B inspired rally car thing. So, yeah, again, good show. Yes, both of them did have to have race suspension, but that was the only thing that was changed on those cars for this particular course. And then we have the Miramar. The convertible didn't do great. It's down in 89th place, exactly the same place as the coupe version, exactly the same point of failure as well. Drive shaft died. The coupe managed to roll over the speed bump, hence why it's a little higher on the leaderboard. But yeah, just a heavy landing, and that was it for the convertible. No more drive shaft. But there we go. That is going to be it for this episode. As ever, I shall link all of the mods used in the description so you can download them and have a go with them yourself. That, though, shall be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.